The Byzantines were not a warlike people. They did not typically raise their children to fight with weapons, as happened in many societies around them. Their strategy was famously cautious and defensive. They preferred to pay their enemies either to go away or to fight among themselves. Likewise, the court, at the heart of their empire, sought to buy allegiance with honours, fancy titles, bales of silk, and streams of gold. Politics was the cunning art of providing just the right incentives to win over supporters and keep them loyal. Money, silk, and titles were the empire's preferred instruments of governance and foreign policy, over swords and armies. And the Byzantine state and bureaucracy could generate a larger cash flow than any other Christian realm at the time. Even in 1080, with half its territory lost to the Turks, fountains and streams of gold gushed forth from the court of a new emperor desperate to establish his position. That desperation stemmed from the dark side of Byzantine politics. The emperor was always vulnerable to the ambitions of domestic rivals who resorted to murderous plots and civil war. If gold failed to make an emperor popular, or if he was perceived as weak, the hands of sons were stained with the blood of fathers, and brother would strike down brother. Sitting on the throne in Constantinople was a dangerous and precarious business, but it was business as usual. Our period, however, was exceptional in two other ways. It began with a burst of violence aimed at the empire's neighbours, as Byzantine armies went on the offensive and conquered more land and people than had ever been subjected to the Roman yoke since the conquests of Justinian in the 6th century. A new generation of aggressive soldiers, trained to fight from youth, slaughtered, sacked, and conquered until the empire no longer faced credible rivals. When Simiskis cut down the 5,000 survivors of a battle in 963, the blood ran down into the fields, and the site was renamed the Mountain of Blood. One emperor came to be known as the White Death of the Saracens, another as the Bulgar-Slayer. The tide would turn during the 11th century. Three new enemies, the Normans, the Pechenegs, and Seljuk Turks, would fall upon the empire and strip it of many of its conquests. It was now the turn of the Byzantines to suffer horribly, as rivers of blood flowed through their provinces. The present book recounts this sudden rise and fall of an empire on the cusp of the millennium, an empire torn by its own contradictions and threatened by the powers that would fashion a new world. It tells the story of how the streams of gold were drowned by the blood of politics and war.